Rolling, rolling, rolling.
We are actually now rolling.
We're rolling, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay. Right. To carry on with the point, which is kind of what this is all come down to, is one point, isn't it? Which is perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still on perspective. I know it's going to bore people, maybe, but it's not for you if it bores you, you know. Enlightenment. Now, you know, once again, if I'm on a course of enlightenment, there must come a point where I kind of know what I'm talking about, mustn't there?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. I wouldn't want to. So if I'm going to wait until I'm the Buddha, then I'm not going to be bothered if anyone listens to me or not, you know. So I've got to actually communicate my point as someone that considers themselves a bodhisattva. Yeah, that's somebody that shares their enlightenment. They don't. A Buddha keeps their enlightenment and is solely interested in their own enlightenment, whereas a bodhisattva is someone that wants to share that enlightenment with people, you know, even at the risk of not becoming fully enlightened themselves. Yeah. So what I'd like to say now is different versions of the same thing. You know, you can study Buddhism and work that way towards your enlightenment, or you can study Taoism and work that way through your enlightenment. Taoism comes from Buddhism, by the way. Don't know if you know that. Like Zen, you know, Zen Buddhist, it still comes from Buddhism, but Taoism is more for the common man, rather than Buddhism is for the avid priest or someone that's, you know, going to give, you know, I don't want to really comment too much on Buddhism because I'm not a Buddhist, I'm a Taoist, and Taoists are for the common man. And I'll give a quick example. You know, you can learn Tai Chi and it will take you a long time. It will take a long time to learn Tai Chi. You can learn Wing Chun, and that kind of gets to the basics of Tai Chi and concentrates on what is needed at the time, you know. It's like a condensed version of Tai Chi. So, you know, if you want to take it, there's another way of explaining it, is the Holy Grail. Yeah, the Grail is the cup of the spirit, and all the other cups are cups of the ego. Yeah, so you can talk from the cup of the spirit without being enlightened. You don't have to necessarily be enlightened to unconditionally love, do you? Yeah, but enlightenment would probably mean that you know the ins and outs of unconditional love in many, many different directions. The cup of the spirit, or the Grail, will talk from a perspective of unconditional love, which to me ultimately is enlightenment, you know. So that's just another way of talking about it. You drink from the spirit cup, or you fill the spirit cup, you operate from the spirit cup. When you're on a course of enlightenment, you try and stay with that all the time, and you ditch the ego. Most people, you know, conspiracy investigators or something like that, will be working on conspiracies, truthing, you know, which in a way is spiritual, but you don't necessarily have to be enlightened to seek the truth. And do you see what I'm saying? So there are different ways of reaching enlightenment, but it's ultimately the same thing. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to become a Buddhist and that's the only way of reaching enlightenment. you know, yogis are not quite the same as Buddhists, but their goal is the same. So you can reach enlightenment by being a yogi, a Buddhist, a Taoist, a shaman. You know, a shaman is the same thing. You know, the Shaolin Buddhists are the shaman of China, and they've got their own specific way of communicating with nature and communicating to people, yeah? The shaman who was part of the village didn't spend much time in the village, did he? He spent his time in the wild, communicating with nature, and then brought that communication to the village. Now, the shaman was always seen as a bit of a weirdo, you know, he's part of us, he's one of us, and he's super important. However, we don't want him hanging around in the village too much because he's a bit of a Fruit Loop, you know, because his way is very dedicated to communicating with nature, whereas the villagers, their way is within the village and keeping what they're doing, gathering food, you know, whatever, working as a unit within the village, which, by the way, is what I think Christianity came in and destroyed. They made the shaman look like an idiot. You know, I keep getting this thing in my head where the shaman came in and said to the villagers, look, don't listen to these Christians because they're going to turn you into a bit of paper, you know. And you know, at the time that would have been good knowledge, but then the Christians would come in and say, come on, turn you into a bit of paper. You know, it's not, you know, if you take it as a literal thing, he's going to turn you into a bit of paper. Yeah, you're going to be a bit of paper. That would be just ridiculous. However, through birth certificates, through money itself and all, we are basically
bits of paper.
Yeah, the straw man is the paper version of the real person, isn't it? Yeah?
Yes.
So that has taken us away from being just a natural person. We are represented by paper and the power of paper and the written word or print.
Yeah.
So that, to me, is perception. That's really messing your perception up. You know, there's this bit of paper that goes, and these contracts that go on throughout your life, and they're happening without you even really knowing about it, aren't they? Yeah? But they represent you in our society, whereas originally you represent you in the society. See where I'm coming from?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at the current situations in the world, everybody is subject to bits of paper with print on them, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's much more powerful than the person, because you take that bits of paper and print away and the person starves to death on the street or in the forest, you know. And if you go out hunting, you know, living as a natural person in the forest, you're pretty soon going to be in prison.
Yeah.
Or forced somehow to be institutionalised, yeah?
Yeah, because you haven't got a certificate to hunt. Or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. You don't hunt anymore, you take a bit of paper to the shop and buy a piece of land, don't you? You don't go out and hunt that piece of land. It's actually illegal to do that, you know. So that is the massive distortion of the human race, if you know what I mean. I just had another thought in my head there, and the dog distracted me and it threw that thought out of my head, you know. The Garden of Eden, right? If you look for a literal leaving the Garden of Eden, well, we haven't left the Garden of Eden. It's still around us. We're still in it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. The bit of paper, the birth certificate, the money, the contract, the control of education is what's taken us from the Garden of Eden, isn't it? It's made...
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I've noticed that I'm surrounded with blackberries. They're everywhere. And they go rotten on the vine. And yet you go to Sainsbury's and for a tiny little punnet like that, it's £3 for a tiny punnet of blackberries that I can get from there. You see what I mean?
Yeah, for nothing.
For nothing. And it's such an abundance that I'd fill buckets and buckets and buckets with blackberries, and there'd still be untold tons of blackberries rotting on the vine. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So back to perspective, your mind's eyes looking glass, the conscious mind's looking glass is all out of focus because we're focusing on things, paper. I mean, the paper, the money that is the ultimate power, we hardly see, do we? I've got a few bits in my wallet, but they're not in front of me permanently all day. I can't see this money all the time because it's just there in the wallet. Whereas nature is around me permanently, isn't it? It's everywhere. Even things that we've created from it, plastic even,
Even people who don't look, it is there.
Yeah. We're surrounded with nature all the time. This camera, it doesn't look very natural, but it is pure made of things gathered from nature, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. And that's what the human race has completely lost, our connection with nature. That's what the shaman warned about, this church with all its power is a complete indoctrination. It is taking you away from nature, therefore it's taking you from the Garden of Eden. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I feel it too.
Yeah. So whether you use Buddhism or yoga or, whatever you're going to use as your route to enlightenment, if you like, it's saying the same thing. Nature is the boss, and we are exploiting and abusing nature left, right and centre, and that's why we're in such a mess, and that's why there's so much mental illness in the world, because it's the artificiality is itself us falling from nature or coming away from the Garden of Eden. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, Tai Chi is another form of communicating with nature. All Tai Chi comes from the animals. Style of the crane, style of the monkey,
right.
Style of the tiger, tiger claw, snake. It's all, everything is nature, and we're communicating with nature to bring that into our system. That's why Tai Chi is the same as shamanism. A Tai Chi guy is a shaman. It's just a totally different route of it. A shaman uses plants, uses nature to heal, to communicate and all this lot. Hey, so does a Tai Chi person. A proper Tai Chi person will make medicines out of nature. We use medicines that are, the things are taken out of nature, but you take a pill, for example, and it's got the elements that we used in nature. However, it's got so many other different things in
Yeah.
it, and a lot of them we don't even know. Well, we don't even know what they are, do we now? You know, and it's all to do with power and money and manipulation and all this lot. Why do we need to go to a pharmacist to get a drug that the forest supplies in abundance?
Because we're not allowed to learn the information that will help us.
Yeah. Well, we do it for you. We do it in this little
Yeah.
pill, and it's convenient, and this, that, and the other.
And we'll make lots of money
And we'll
out
make
of you
lots of-
being ill.
Exactly. So it's artificial on top of artificial on top of artificial on top of artificial. And we're taught that we have the intelligence, therefore we have changed everything that nature provided into an intelligent form, a form that we can describe. That's the human intelligence. We can describe that. Well, you can describe it. You take something like the sun, yeah? The sun is the sun, and that's that. Human beings have to verbalise what the sun is and explain what it is. You try and explain verbally what the sun is, and you will fill endless books with it, won't you? And a lot of that's hearsay anyway, isn't it? It's not actual, we know it for a fact, it's what the scientists tell us. And scientists themselves are directed. So, back to nature. Nature will provide the correct perspective, is where I'm coming from. In the human complicated world, that is belittled, looked down upon, you know, it's like childlike eyes or this and that. Says who? Says these people that are part of a system that wants you to worship the system. So any human system is artificial. That's what we got to get back to. It's all right knowing all this information, but your perspective is completely skew-whiffed on so many things. And if you're a sort of person that says, "Oh no, I've been educated, I've got these degrees and this," yeah, from people that thrive or think they thrive on this artificiality. That's why perspective is the be all and end all of everything. If your perspective ain't correct, your information ain't correct. That's what people need to know. My message to the world, we've now talked for an hour and a quarter, whatever, on one subject, perspective. Out. Stop it. Go on. That's it.
That's to the dogs, not me, by the way.
That's to these little bits of nature running around in the front room, you know. Distortion. The distortion of nature is what all our mess is. And money and wealth dictates who's in control. Who's in control? Nature's in control. If you think humans are in control, you're so wrong, because all they are doing is losing control for someone else to say, "I know better than you." And if you don't believe me, I'll point a gun at you and hey ho, you'll fucking believe me. Bully, simple, you know. So a lot on one simple thing, perspective. And yeah, it may be boring, I don't care. I don't care if people are bored of this. It's the thing that has to be said. And that's what a lot of people aren't talking about. You know, even your people that are at the top of the conspiracy tree that know the most. They touch on perspective every now and then, but it's the absolute be all and end all. And that's what my message is. And to understand perspective, keep it very simple, and in Kung Fu terms, that is what you require. Yeah?
What do you call that?
A punch. Just a straight punch. Elbow down, bang. Right? That's what you need. Is not required. Is not required. It's just not, you know. The power's there. It doesn't have to be a run-up and all, you know, and all this sort of stuff. You don't need to learn how to knock someone's head clean off their shoulders to win a fight.
Yeah, but it sounds like what you're saying is that we've all got to go out and learn to punch people.
No, that is a way of explaining it. Yeah? Bruce Lee would do a punch and put his power in. I'm not, you know. And that's what's required. People would say, oh, Bruce was so fast. Yeah, he was, of course he was fast. But he took away all the unrequired things.
So we just need, I feel, we need to make it clear to people that you're not saying to people like me, go out and learn to punch people.
No. Understand the mechanics. The great thing about something like Wing Chun is it's the most basic, effective thing. Tai Chi, you'll learn all these fancy, great big moves and all this, but is it required? You know, is it really required?
Simple is often the best thing.
Simple is the best thing, and that's how nature operates. Simple. This is what I do, that's that. Keep it simple, get back to nature. The human race has become a parasite. A lot of people don't like hearing that.
No, I have to agree.
But we are a parasite. We're eating, we don't only eat the planet to death, we eat each other to death. I mean, what parasite, you look at nature, what parasite has fun destroying another one of its for blatant evil? What does that? Can you think of an animal that, you know, delights in just destroying one of its own members? You know.
No, I can't. Wait, no, I can't.
Exactly, and we do. You know, our creature does. It destroys absolutely everything in every single way. That's a super parasite. And at the end of the day, you take a normal parasite like a cancer. The cancer has no conscious mind, and when it has eaten the crap out of its host, it dies as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it kills the host. I've always thought cancer is a bit brainless.
Yeah, it's a brainless thing, isn't it? Well, if cancer's brainless, and yet we're supposed to be intelligent and aware and all that lot, then we are intelligently being brainless, being more brainless than a cancer, aren't we?
Yeah, so what can we do?
Get back to nature, worship nature. To me, Christianity is a distortion of the story of nature. You know, God is the be-all and end-all, knows everything, knows every hair on your head, you know, knows every single one of us, knows the future, knows the past. A bloke on a cloud doesn't I can't say knows that. Nature, we know, does know that. Nature knows every hair on my head because nature put it there, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it knows every hair on my head because it is every hair on my head. And that's what we got to understand. We are nature itself, and that's what they're hiding from us. Our inner power, our spirit. A lot of people won't even agree they got a spirit. Well, what animates all that? What is animating all this? My spirit, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you, you know that.
Yeah, but it's getting to them simple fundamentals. I know a lot of people that have been at college for most of their bloody life and universities and all that actually say we got no spirit. We think we have because we have consciousness, but there's no spirit in there. Well,
speak for yourself, mate.
Yeah, you speak for yourself. Where's your spirit? Yeah, your spirit is the material way, and there's all the waffle in the world to say I ain't got a spirit, because we have developed all the waffle in the world to manipulate the world however we see fit. That's the problem with this world. That's what they're hiding from us. Our inner strength, our inner power. That's what they're hiding from us. That's the real knowledge they don't want us to know. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that's the point of everything. So, truth, common sense, and evil is that way. Good is towards unconditional love. Though these evil people that are everywhere that have all this intelligence, this amazing intelligence, you ain't got no intelligence, mate, because you're going towards death, hatred. They worship death, and the death and the pain of others as well. But they're so stupid, these so-called intelligent people that are evil. Where's their intelligence? Because they're only taking their self and everyone else to a place. I can't see any intelligence in that. I cannot see any intelligence, no matter how intelligent they are. It is not a smart thing to do. Where are we at?
28 minutes, just over.
That'll do.